Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive. Today we're going to be diving into something pretty fascinating, prompt engineering. But get this, we're going to be looking at it through the lens of managing people.
Oh, wow.
I know, right? So instead of thinking of AI as just lines of code, we're going to imagine it as a team of really smart, but like very literal-minded employees.
Okay.
Yeah. So you'll learn how to be the best AI manager around.
I'm intrigued.
I knew you would be. And our guide for this deep dive is this essay by Chris Tanzi called Managing Machines, Applying Human Management Principles to Prompt Engineering.
Okay, I've heard of that one.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's packed with practical advice on getting the most out of AI, and I can't wait to kind of break it down with you.
I think what's really fascinating about Tanzian's approach is that he really demystifies prompt engineering by drawing parallels to everyday experiences. It's like he's giving you this secret decoder ring for understanding how to talk to these powerful AI systems.
You know me, I'm always up for cracking a code.
Always.
So let's start with the first big idea, clear instructions. Sounds simple enough, right?
Yeah.
But Tanzi argues that crafting a good prompt is like writing the perfect job description.
Absolutely. Think about it. You wouldn't just throw a vague task at a new employee and expect stellar results, would you?
Definitely not.
Right. You'd carefully outline their responsibilities, the desired outcome, even the tone they should use when interacting with clients.
Yeah, for sure.
It's the same with AI. The clearer your instructions are, the better the AI understands its job and delivers what you need.
So far, so good. But you know, it really blew my mind.
That's that.
It's this whole concept of assigning roles to the AI. Like if you tell it you're a financial advisor,
Oh, yeah.
it starts responding in a totally different way.
It's amazing.
It's like you've given it a whole new personality.
It is, and Tanzi gives a great example of how this works in practice.
Yeah.
Imagine you're creating a customer service chatbot.
Okay. Yeah.
Instead of just telling the AI to answer customer questions,
Right.
you give it a full onboarding experience.
Oh, wow.
With a prompt like this. You are a customer support representative. Your job is to answer user questions accurately and empathetically. Always confirm the user's problem and ask if there's anything else they need help with before ending the conversation.
So it's not just about telling the AI what to do, but like how to do it right.
Exactly.
Like setting the tone, the workflow, almost shaping its entire demeanor.
Precisely. And that level of specificity makes all the difference. It's like giving the AI a really detailed roadmap instead of just a vague destination.
Yeah.
And when the AI has that clear understanding of its role and the expectations,
Right.
the results are just so much more impressive.
Okay, so we've given our AI a job title and a clear job description.
Right.
What's next in our AI management journey?
Well, just like with any employee, you don't just give instructions and hope for the best, right?
Right.
You have to provide feedback. You have to give them guidance to help them improve.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's where iterative refinement comes in. It's like giving your AI a performance review.
Hold on, a performance review for AI.
But in real time.
Okay, I am intrigued. Tell me more.
It's all about recognizing that your initial prompt isn't set in stone.
Okay.
It's a starting point.
Gotcha.
You use the AI's output as data to see what's working and what needs improvement, and then you refine the prompt accordingly, just like you'd give feedback to an employee to help them course correct
Oh, I see.
and develop their skills.
So it's a back and forth process.
Yeah.
We see how the AI responds, we tweak the prompt, see how it responds again, and keep refining until we get the results we want.
Exactly. It's a continuous loop of learning and improvement, both for you and for the AI.
That's cool.
And Tanzi has a great example of this with that customer service bot.
Okay.
The initial prompt was too broad,
Okay.
and so it was leading to these generic, unhelpful responses.
Yeah.
But by refining the prompt to include specific instructions about clarity and empathy,
Right.
like using phrases like, I understand this must be frustrating, the bot's responses became much more effective and human-like.
You know, it's funny because when I first heard about prompt engineering, I thought it was all about finding that one perfect prompt.
Yeah.
And then boom, you're done.
Right.
But it's way more nuanced than that.
For sure.
It's this ongoing conversation where you're constantly learning from the AI's output and adapting your approach.
Yeah. And it highlights a key takeaway for anyone working with AI.
What's that?
Be prepared to experiment, iterate, and refine your prompts.
Okay.
Think of yourself as a coach guiding the AI towards its full potential.
I love that. This is so cool. I'm starting to feel like an AI whisperer already.
Aha.
But I gotta admit, I'm also feeling a little overwhelmed.
Yeah,
There's just so much to consider when crafting these prompts.
right.
It's like I need a manager just to manage my AI.
Well, you're not alone in feeling that way.
Okay, good.
And guess what?
What?
Tanzi addresses that exact point in his essay with this idea of context management.
Context management. Okay, I'm all ears. This sounds like something I definitely need help with.
Think about it this way. Even the most brilliant minds have limitations, right?
True.
Just like humans can only juggle so much information at once, AI also has a limited working memory.
Yeah, tell me about it. My brain feels like it's at max capacity most of the time.
Right.
So I'm guessing AI isn't immune to information overload either?
Exactly. And that's where context management comes in.
Okay.
It's about recognizing that you can't just bombard the AI with every piece of information you have. You need to prioritize and structure the information in the prompt, just like a good manager would delegate tasks and set priorities for their team.
So instead of overwhelming the AI with a fire hose of information,
Right.
we need to carefully curate what it needs to know to complete the task at hand.
Yeah.
It's like giving it a clear agenda for a meeting instead of just dumping a stack of papers on its desk.
That's a great analogy.
Thank
And
you.
it highlights a key principle of prompt engineering. Less is often more.
Okay.
Focusing on the most relevant information and structuring it strategically. You can help the AI avoid that cognitive overload and produce more accurate and coherent responses.
This is making so much sense. It's like we're learning to speak the AI's language, understanding its strengths and its limitations, and then tailoring our communication accordingly.
You've got it. And the more we understand these principles, the better equipped we'll be to unlock that incredible potential of AI in all sorts of applications.
Okay, I'm ready to take my AI management skills to the next level. What other insights does Tanzi have in store for us?
Well, remember how we talked about clear instructions being crucial?
Uh-huh.
Tanzi takes that idea a step further with the concept of consistency, which he compares to having well-defined standard operating procedures, or SOPs, in the workplace.
SOPs. I've definitely encountered my fair share of those in the corporate world.
Oh, yeah.
And let me tell you, inconsistent instructions are a recipe for disaster, whether you're dealing with people or AI.
Exactly. And that's why Tanzi emphasizes the importance of prompt templates. Think of them as your AI's SOPs, ensuring that it consistently produces high-quality results no matter what the specific task is.
Okay, so instead of reinventing the wheel every time we interact with the AI,
Right.
we create these template prompts that act as guidelines for different types of tasks.
Exactly.
It's like having a pre-written script for common scenarios,
Yeah.
ensuring a certain level of quality and predictability in the AI's responses.
That's right. It streamlines the process, and it helps avoid inconsistencies that can lead to errors or confusion.
Yeah.
Tanzi gives a great example of a prompt template for handling customer inquiries.
Oh, yeah.
And by using this standardized template,
Right.
the AI can provide consistent and effective responses regardless of what specific question is being asked.
This is making me think about all the times I've gotten frustrated with chatbots that just seem to spit out these canned responses or go off on tangents.
Yeah.
It's like they have no sense of structure or consistency.
Right.
But with these prompt templates, we're essentially providing that framework
Yeah.
for the AI,
Yeah.
ensuring a more reliable and user-friendly experience.
You're exactly right. And it's not just about making the AI more efficient, it's also about building trust with users.
Right.
When people know what to expect from an AI system, they're more likely to engage with it and feel confident in its capabilities.
Okay, so we've covered clear instructions, iterative refinement, context management, and consistency.
Wait,
We're really building a solid foundation for effective AI management here.
I think so.
But what happens when things go off script? You know, when the AI hits a snag or veers off in an unexpected direction?
Yeah.
It's like having a team member that needs a little redirection.
Yeah, right.
How do we handle those situations?
That's a great question, and it brings us to another important aspect of Tanzi's approach: adaptability.
Adaptability. So we can't just set these prompts in stone and expect the AI to perform flawlessly.
Right.
We need to be ready to adjust, improvise as needed.
Precisely. Just like with managing people, you have to be flexible and adapt your approach based on the situation. Sometimes you need to tweak the wording of a prompt.
Oh.
Add more context, or even completely rethink your strategy to get the AI back on track.
So it's not about being rigid with those initial prompts. It's about being willing to adapt and adjust based on the AI's performance, just like we would with a human team member.
Exactly. Tanzi provides a really insightful example where a prompt was initially designed to gather customer feedback,
Okay.
but the AI's responses weren't very helpful, so the prompt had to be refined to provide more specific instructions.
Gotcha.
Kind of like a manager troubleshooting an employee's challenges.
Right.
It's all about being observant, recognizing when things aren't working as intended, and being willing to course correct.
I love that analogy.
Yeah.
It's like we're coaching the AI to perform better,
Yeah.
helping it learn from its mistakes and guiding it towards its full potential.
That's a fantastic way to put it.
Thanks.
And it highlights a key takeaway for anyone working with AI. Be prepared to be a hands-on manager, providing guidance, feedback, adjustments along the way. It's a dynamic process, but it's also incredibly rewarding when you see the AI grow and develop under your guidance.
This is mind-blowing. We're not just talking about giving commands to a machine. We're talking about building a relationship,
Yeah.
fostering a sense of collaboration, and guiding the AI towards its best possible performance.
Right.
I'm starting to see prompt engineering in a whole new light.
And that's precisely what Tanzi's essay does so brilliantly. It reframes our understanding of how we interact with AI.
Yeah.
It's not about brute force or technical wizardry. It's about applying the same principles of good management that we use in our everyday lives.
This has been an incredible deep dive so far.
It has.
I'm feeling so much more confident in my ability to manage AI and unlock its incredible potential. But we've only just scratched the surface, haven't we?
We have.
What other management secrets does Tanzi have up his sleeve?
Well, get this. He actually takes this management analogy to an even deeper level
Oh.
by exploring the ethical considerations of working with AI.
Wait, hold on. So just like a manager needs to create a positive and ethical workplace culture,
Yeah,
we need to think about the culture we're creating for our AI.
exactly.
That's fascinating. Tell me more about how this works.
It's like this. Imagine you're building the culture for your AI team. You wouldn't want to create an environment where biased decisions are made or where certain voices are excluded.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Creating a fair and inclusive workplace is essential for any team, whether it's made up of humans or AI. But how do we actually translate those values into the world of prompt engineering? It's not like we can give our AI a pep talk about ethics.
Right. That's where things get really interesting. Tanzi introduces some cool techniques for building ethical considerations directly into our prompts. Think of it like setting up guardrails to make sure the AI stays on the right track.
Guardrails. I like that. So what are some of these techniques? Give me the inside scoop.
One technique that Tanzi highlights is retrieval-augmented generation, or RAG for short. I know, but the concept is pretty straightforward.
Okay, as long as you break it down for me, I'm game.
Essentially, RAG is like giving your AI access to this massive library of verified information. So instead of just relying on its own internal knowledge, which might be limited or biased,
Right.
you're prompting it to pull in relevant data from reputable sources.
Okay.
It's like having a team of expert researchers at its disposal.
Ah, so it's like giving the AI a fact-checking superpower.
Exactly.
That makes a lot of sense. If we want our AI to make informed and unbiased decisions, it needs access to accurate and reliable information. But wouldn't that make the prompt super long and complicated?
Not necessarily. The beauty of RAG is that you're not actually including all that information in the prompt itself.
Oh,
You're simply instructing the AI to access and utilize it as needed.
that's brilliant. So we're essentially teaching the AI to be a responsible researcher,
Right.
to cite its sources and to avoid making claims that it can't back up with evidence.
Exactly.
It's like instilling good academic practices in our AI team.
You got it. And it's amazing how this one technique can significantly improve the accuracy and reliability of the AI's output.
That's cool.
But that's not all.
There's more.
Tanzi also introduces another fascinating technique called self-consistency.
Self-consistency. Okay, I'm curious. What's that all about?
Imagine you're trying to make an important decision and you want to get multiple perspectives. You might ask a few different people for their opinions, right?
Totally. It's always good to get a second or even a third opinion before making a big call.
Well, self-consistency is kind of like doing that with your AI.
Oh, okay.
Instead of just getting one response, you prompt it to generate multiple different answers. And then you use a special algorithm to choose the most commonly agreed upon answer.
Wait, so we're basically getting a consensus from a bunch of different AIs.
Exactly.
That's so cool. It's like having a whole team of AI advisors weighing in on the decision.
Exactly. And by selecting the answer that has the most agreement, you're reducing the risk of bias or idiosyncrasies that might be present in any single response.
Yeah. Oh, I see.
It's like getting the most balanced and well-rounded perspective from your AI team.
This is blowing my mind.
Yeah.
I never realized how much thought goes into designing these prompts to make sure the AI is producing accurate, unbiased, and reliable results. Like a whole new level of management.
It
Are
is.
there any other techniques we should know about?
There's one more that Tanzi highlights, and it's called meta prompting.
Meta prompting.
Uh,
Okay, that sounds intriguing. What's the meta all about?
Think of it this way. With regular prompts, we're telling the AI what to do.
Right.
But with meta prompting, we're actually telling the AI how to think about the prompt itself.
Whoa, hold on. We're giving the AI instructions on how to interpret our instructions.
Yeah,
That's next level stuff.
it is, and it's incredibly powerful. For example, you can use meta prompting to encourage the AI to consider multiple viewpoints,
Uh-huh.
to cite its sources, and to avoid using language that might be perceived as biased or offensive.
So it's like we're building those ethical considerations directly into the framework of the prompt itself.
Right.
It's like giving the AI a set of values to guide its decision-making process.
That's exactly right. And it's amazing how much of an impact this can have on the AI's output. By carefully crafting these meta prompts,
Yeah.
we can nudge the AI towards more responsible and ethical behavior.
This is all so fascinating. It's like we're not just managing the AI's tasks, but also shaping its character, helping it to become a more thoughtful, ethical, and responsible member of the team.
That's a beautiful way to put it. And it really highlights the profound impact that prompt engineering can have. We're not just giving commands to a machine, we're shaping the way it thinks and interacts with the world.
You know, I have to admit, when we started this deep dive, I was a little intimidated by the whole concept of prompt engineering. It seemed so technical and complex. But now I'm starting to see it as an art form, a way of communicating with these incredible AI systems and guiding them towards their full potential.
I'm so glad to hear that. And it's true, there is an art to crafting effective prompts. It requires creativity, experimentation, and a deep understanding of how the AI works.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground today, from clear instructions to iterative refinement, context management, consistency, adaptability, and even these fascinating techniques for building ethical considerations into our prompts. It's like we've gone through an entire AI management training program.
Uh-huh.
But before we wrap up, I have one more question for you.
Okay.
We've talked about all the things we can do to shape the AI's behavior, but what about the AI itself?
Yeah.
Is there anything we need to be aware of in terms of its limitations or potential pitfalls?
That's a great question, and it's one that Tanzi addresses in his essay as well.
Okay, good.
He reminds us that even the most advanced AI systems are still just tools.
Right.
They're incredibly powerful tools,
Yeah.
but they're not infallible.
Okay, so we need to be realistic about what AI can and cannot do.
Yeah.
It's not a magic bullet that can solve all our problems.
Exactly. And just like with any tool, it's important to use it responsibly and to be aware of its limitations. For example, AI can be susceptible to bias,
Oh, yeah.
especially if it's trained on data that reflects existing societal biases.
So even if we're being super careful with our prompts,
Right.
the AI might still produce biased results if the data it's been trained on is already skewed.
That's right.
That's a sobering thought.
It is, and that's why it's so important to be aware of the data that's being used to train these AI models and to advocate for more diverse and representative data sets.
Okay, so it's not just about managing the AI itself, but also about being critical of the data that's fueling its intelligence.
Yeah.
It's like being a responsible consumer,
Yeah,
making sure that the products we're using are ethically sourced and produced.
that's a fantastic analogy. And it highlights the importance of taking a holistic approach to AI. It's not just about the technical aspects of prompt engineering, but also about the ethical and societal implications of this technology.
This gave me so much to think about. It's like prompt engineering is not just a skill, but a responsibility.
Right.
We have the power to shape how this technology is used, and it's up to us to use that power wisely.
I couldn't agree more. And that's why Tanzi's essay is so valuable. He's not just giving us practical tips for prompt engineering, but also challenging us to think critically about the role of AI in our lives.
This has been an incredible deep dive.
It has.
I feel like I've gained a whole new understanding of prompt engineering, and I'm excited to start applying these principles in my own work.
I'm glad to hear that.
But before we sign off, I have one last question for you. What's the one thing you want our listeners to take away from this conversation?
If there's one thing to remember, it's this prompt engineering is more than just writing instructions for AI. It's about understanding its strengths, its limitations, and its potential impact on the world. It's about being a good manager, a responsible user, and a thoughtful contributor to the ongoing conversation about AI.
Those are powerful words. I think you've given our listeners a lot to chew on today.
It's been my pleasure. And to our listeners, I encourage you to explore the world of prompt engineering for yourselves. Experiment, iterate, and always be mindful of the ethical implications of your work. The future of AI is in our hands, and it's up to us to shape it responsibly.
Beautifully said. And to our listeners, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of prompt engineering. We'll catch you next time as we continue to explore the fascinating world of knowledge.
Wow, this deep dive has really opened my eyes to the nuances of AI. I'm starting to see how prompt engineering is like having a superpower. It's not just about giving commands, it's about understanding and shaping the way AI thinks.
That's a great way to put it. It's about being a guide and a mentor to the AI, helping it navigate the complexities of information and make responsible decisions. It's a responsibility we shouldn't take lightly.
You know what else strikes me? We often hear about AI as this mysterious black box, but Tanzi's approach makes it feel so much more approachable. It's like he's giving us the keys to the kingdom, showing us that we can all be AI whisperers if we understand the principles of good management. Absolutely. And it's empowering because it means we're not just passive observers of this technology. We have the agency to shape its development and influence its impact on the world.
Okay, so we've covered a ton of ground today. We've learned how to write crystal clear instructions, how to refine prompts based on the AI's performance, how to manage context, how to ensure consistency, how to be adaptable, and even how to incorporate ethical considerations into our approach. It's like we've been on a crash course in AI management.
It really has been.
But before we wrap up, I want to come back to something you said earlier about AI being a tool. It's a powerful tool, no doubt, but it's still just a tool. What does that mean for us as we move forward into this increasingly AI-driven world?
That's a great question to end on because it brings us back to the core of what we've been discussing. It means we need to remember that AI is not a replacement for human judgment, creativity, or empathy. It's a tool that can augment our abilities, enhance our decision-making, and help us solve complex problems, but it's not a silver bullet.
So we need to be mindful of its limitations and use it judiciously, not blindly rely on it as the ultimate authority.
Exactly. Just as a skilled carpenter wouldn't use a hammer for every task we need to choose the right AI tool for the job and use it in a way that aligns with our values and goals.
Such a powerful analogy, and it highlights the importance of having a human-centered approach to AI. It's not about letting the technology dictate our actions, but about using it to enhance our human potential.
And it's about recognizing that AI is constantly evolving. The AI of today is not the AI of tomorrow, so we need to stay informed, be adaptable, and continue to learn and grow alongside this incredible technology.
Well said, expert speaker. You've given us so much to ponder today. I feel like I gained a whole new understanding of prompt engineering and its implications for the future.
It's been a fascinating deep dive. And to our listeners, I hope you've found this exploration as thought-provoking as we have. Remember, the principles we've discussed today are just the starting point. There's a whole universe of possibilities waiting to be explored in the world of prompt engineering. So go forth, experiment, iterate, and most importantly, shape the future of AI with wisdom and responsibility.
That's a perfect note to end on, expert speaker. Thank you for sharing your insights with us today. And to our listeners, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of prompt engineering. We'll catch you next time as we continue to explore the fascinating world of knowledge.